So Apex Legends launched today, the Titanfall free-to-play Battle Royale, and for the last couple of days I worried that this was going to be a colossal screw-up for EA, a company who needs as much positive mindshare as possible. They need as much careful planning as possible, and they have Anthem, their big Bioware game, less than 2 weeks away, and here they are about to announce, reveal, and launch another game, another shooter, and it's free to play, potentially cannibalizing pre-orders and sales of their full $60 Anthem project. But I'm happy to say I was wrong. These games don't compete really at all. Granted, they are both video games, they are both on multiple platforms, they both involve shooting and powers. I thought it would be much more akin to Overwatch or Rainbow Six Siege, but in actuality, it's far more simple. Apex Legends is a battle royale, and it's a very good battle royale, and it has a lot of positive momentum right now. It currently is sitting at 300,000 plus viewers on Twitch, double Fortnite. Who knows how long that will last, but they have a good groundswell right now, and it seems like they have crafted a really fun and fine game. It looks good, it plays really great, they've incorporated some new ideas, but at the end of the day, it is Battle Royale, and maybe it will happily intersect with Anthem, a game that is missing PvP, and this is just a free, another option for people who like Battle Royales. And unfortunately, it's not really a game for me. We'll get to my complete inability to fall in love with the Battle Royale a little bit later, but it also makes me really appreciate what Anthem does do well. And I look at what Respawn was saying today about Titanfall 3. Producer Drew McCoy told Eurogamer the world thinks we're making Titanfall 3, and we're not. This is what we're making. We're doing a free-to-play game with essentially loot boxes after we were bought by EA, and it's not Titanfall 3. And he goes on to describe why they wanted a very short, aka zero hype cycle, and didn't want to have a bunch of trailers where people worry about how it would handle microtransactions or the fact that it's removing the main gimmicks from Titanfall, the wall running, the Titans themselves, the campaign, and instead boiling it down to a really cool battle royale. And it just makes me sad that Titanfall 3 may never happen. There earlier were reports from Jason Schreier, among others, that Titanfall 3 was in the works. They weren't happy with where it was. The engine felt outdated, so instead they diverted attention to Apex Legends, and then maybe they'd come back to Titanfall 3 next gen or something, and they still might. But as of right now, it looks like this is what they were developing. This was the intended product, and here it is. It just bums me out as someone who prefers single-player experiences, who prefers the grandeur of a designed world with lore, with story, with characters, with levels, with missions, with bosses, and those things that Anthem has, I really, really like. Because while in some ways Anthem is a Me Too game chasing after Destiny and The Division, it has its own identity. Something that I fear is lost when you're chasing the Battle Royale dollars. Now, of course, Apex Legends does do some unique things and has really cool powers and makes its own mark on the genre, but it's not as unique as what Titanfall 3 could have been. Like I said, it removes the titular Titans. They're nowhere to be found. And by all accounts, this game has very little Titanfall branding anywhere within. You could not even associate it with Titanfall, and it would be totally fine. There are some elements and some abilities and some guns and things of that sort that definitely remind you of this franchise and its history, but it really doesn't need to be that way. They could swap them out, make a few palette changes, and it would have nothing to do with the game outside of really great gunplay. So I applaud Anthem for succeeding at its differentiating factor. From the moment I first played, I've said the separator is going to be that flying mechanic. I think it is one of the greatest gameplay mechanics divined this generation. Honestly, no matter what happens to Anthem, if the game has a long life, if people are playing it for hundreds of hours, or if it flops and people play the campaign and not much more, that mechanic of soaring high above Iron Man style, it's remarkable. And for that, they should be applauded. The fact that it has diverse and interesting environments, I love it. The fact that there's a bunch of different creatures, organic and not, I love it. These things that you kind of come to take for granted in most games are starting to stand out to me as so many things homogenize and make themselves vanilla. By no means is Anthem's story Shakespeare-worthy, but at least I already have moments that stand out, iconography and imagery from the game that I associate directly with Anthem. And I'm just not the person to make my own memories. I want the game to provide me with the cool stuff. You look at Battle Royales and what people talk about are the moments they had. And I don't know if I'm just not the right age, I don't know if I'm just not the right person, but for me, I want to see something spectacular in the game. I want to dive into the minds of the designers and understand what they have built. I don't really care if I got a really cool kill. Sure, that's nice. I don't really care if I have this crazy comeback. Sure, that's fun. But what stands out and defines media for me is what the creators bring to the table. And while I'm super impressed, and it's definitely applause-worthy how briskly Respawn handled this entire process, and the game is there for you to play immediately, like that is so incredibly cool, it's also so interesting to me that the things they removed from Titanfall are my favorite parts of Anthem. World building, unique enemies, storytelling, defining mechanics and features, linear sections, it's all gone in exchange for a battle royale that may end up being a bigger success. It's just really weird. And I don't know, it's depressing and I feel sort of broken each time a new BR comes out and people are all excited and I'm excited and I go to play it and I just don't connect. I don't know what kind of battle royale it will take to hook me. I'm wondering if there is any. I look at multiplayer experiences that I love and even quirky multiplayer that I thoroughly enjoyed like Evolve, and yet these BRs just, they don't grab me. I spend most of my time wandering around, and maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Maybe the way that I play video games just doesn't work for this genre, but I don't like the idea that progression is at a minimum. I don't like that an entire session can be wiped because I missed the guy behind me and I'm done. I don't like that I could waste 27 minutes and 42 seconds building up the perfect loadout, planning with my squad the perfect place to plot our victory, and then in a flash, it's all over, back to menu screen, start again. There's something about that loop that I really don't want any part of. And it feels weird to praise Anthem for these elements that even it has in such small doses. Things like a bold, bombastic story and really curated set pieces. In comparison to some of my favorite games of all time, far more linear experiences, Anthem doesn't have a whole lot, but at least it retains a connection to those titles, and at least it is trying to provide some sort of experience that isn't wholly riding on the players making their own mess and moments in a sandbox provided by the developers. I'm not hating on BRs, in fact I'm fascinated by them because it's something I can't break into. I don't like to spend tons of time with games learning every little detail. I don't play often with big friend groups. I'm not one to have the patience to try again and again and again to get a good result, but they are insanely successful, and I wonder what it will take for one to catch me, if it ever happens. Maybe we just need an Evolve Battle Royale and then I'll be all in, given that that's one of my favorite games of all time. But back to where we started, I'm no longer worried about Apex Legends cannibalizing any of Anthem's pie. I think maybe it pulls a few people and they get hooked on a free experience and cancel their pre-order, but in general, these games are completely separate. I'm still kind of confused about why now for the Titanfall BR, especially since they didn't utilize the Super Bowl as a launching point, instead the day after, and why right before Anthem, in case it would cause any sort of conflict. But hey, the game seems really good, people seem to be loving it, and I'm glad for Respawn. Perhaps it will provide them with the dollars and confidence to release not only a great Star Wars game at the end of this year, but another title that does employ these elements that I love in the future, maybe on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet. Right now though, I feel a mix of emotions. Very happy that what Anthem does well lines up with what I like, and I'm very, very excited to play more of that game. Even in the demo this weekend, I had so much fun bringing my Iron Man-esque javelin home and playing, flying, soaring, shooting. It's just way more satisfying to me to take out 100 enemies in a couple of minutes rather than wander and hope to find one or two. And that's where the sadness comes in, because I thought this would be it. I loved Titanfall 2 so much, and a game in that franchise from those developers, maybe that would be the Battle Royale to hook me. And unfortunately, it hasn't. I'm still open, I'm still willing, give me some suggestions, but as of right now, Apex Legends isn't for me, Anthem is, and they're two totally separate games, and that's okay. So I don't think EA screwed up. I think they're going to be okay as long as they focus on the players and providing quality, sound, and generous experiences. We should be all right. Anthem seems to be on the right track. They're open, they're communicative, they've got good ideas. Apex Legends is free, and while they do have microtransactions all over, it feels like they are willing and ready to adjust as needed and will try to make this work because the quality is there. People seem to really like it. They just have to work out and iron out the little things. But let me know your take on both games and which you prefer in the comments down below. Which style of game is more appealing to you, and do you have any tips for someone like me who can't seem to get into a single battle royale? Until next time, though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are enjoying Anthem and both, either Apex Legends. And until next time, we will see you all later.